All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to Diabetes Talk. I'm your host, Charlie O'Connell. We are broadcasting live from the GLUCOSEZONE studio here in New Haven, Connecticut. I want to congratulate and thank everybody who just joined us for that live GLUCOSEZONE workout. Guys, if you haven't joined us yet for one of our live workouts, I can't encourage you enough. There's so much amazing inspiration going on, and people around the world working out together, taking the fight to diabetes. It's awesome. Now, let me do a big shout out to Jeanette and Nikita who have joined us on YouTube. We've also got Raj from India who's joining us, and Salah from Algeria. I love it, guys. We're already having a global conversation. It is so great to have you guys here. I want to say what's up to Instagram. Sue, I see you. T Green, I see you too. And everybody who's joining us on Facebook, guys, and also definitely in the GLUCOSEZONE app. We have 4 networks going right now, bringing a conversation together about how to reduce, reverse, and control diabetes. And I can't wait to answer all of your questions. Tonight's topic, guys, is about the benefit of tracking your blood sugar levels. We're actually going to start off with a question coming in from India. This is from Nikita. Nikita says, I'm not diabetic, okay, but I have pre-diabetes. So we're going to break that down. And I have hypothyroidism, all right? Should I check my sugars on a regular basis and during workouts? Okay, so that is a great question, Nikita. And let's really break that down. So the first thing is, let's distinguish between what is pre-diabetes versus diabetes. So what pre-diabetes is elevated blood sugar levels, but your A1C has not gone above 6.5. So clinically speaking, you are diagnosed with type 2 diabetes when your A1C is at 6.5 or above, okay? Pre-diabetes is diagnosed if your A1C is between 5.5 and 6.5. So what pre-diabetes really means, there's different ways that you can describe it. Some people call it early stage diabetes. Other people call it at risk, at high risk for diabetes. But really all it means is you have elevated blood sugar levels. Now, what's interesting about the comment about hypothyroidism is hypothyroidism can cause wild fluctuations in your glucose levels, both up and down. So to answer your question specifically, Nikita, I would say that yes, testing your blood sugar could be incredibly valuable for 2 reasons. Number one, it would help you identify when and why are you pre-diabetic in the first place, okay? The second reason, specifically during workouts, and this actually has to do with your hypothyroidism as much as your pre-diabetes, is people living with hypothyroidism can experience low blood sugar, okay? And low blood sugar, there are several different conditions where low blood sugar can happen that are not actually just related to diabetes. So, and hypothyroidism is one of them. So if you're experiencing low blood sugar during a workout, A, that can be actually dangerous. B, that can be causing a rebound effect. And the rebound effect could be ultimately causing your glucose levels to go higher than you want. And that rebound, okay, is in response to a low blood sugar. So all of those reasons that I just described would be reasons why testing your blood sugar would be a good idea, okay? Now, let me respond to Sue here joining us on Instagram. Sue just let us know that she got her CGM prescription for Freestyle Libre. That is so awesome, Sue, and you know what? Let's just talk about this right now, guys. I definitely want to encourage you, if you have the means, if you are basically in a place where you can get a continuous glucose monitor, you should go do it, okay? because it is going to dramatically enhance your ability to track your blood sugar levels, number one. And number two, it is going to dramatically improve your life living with diabetes. And I'm going to give you a classic example of what I mean by that. Today, I had to travel into New York City, okay? So I was on the train at 9 a.m. into the city for a meeting. New York City is about 2 hours from New Haven, which is where our broadcasting studio is. And it was the hustle and bustle of getting into New York, a packed train, the whole thing. I was able to test my blood sugar 5 times in that 2-hour time period on the train without ever actually having to prick my finger. And that is a huge improvement in my quality of life, my ability to keep track of my glucose levels, and ultimately keep track of my diabetes, okay? So I want to encourage you, if you do have access to it, you should get it. And we've got several people joining us, so Linda Latina, is great to have you here. Linda Latina, yes, insurance, most insurances will cover the CGM. Now, I don't know your specifics, and I definitely understand that some insurance programs can be very frustrating, but for me, I'll just share my personal experience. My insurance did cover my CGM, so you should definitely look into it. Either way, looking into it is a good idea. All right. Now, Claudette, great question. Claudette asked, and Claudette, it's great to have you here, and Claudette was with us for our workout earlier, which really was a fantastic workout. What is a type 1 A1C? All right, so the A1C for the type 1, the guidelines for A1C for type 1 and type 2 are very similar, but so in other words, what that means is if you have type 1 diabetes, how do I say this? So it's actually a good question. You kind of asked me a trick question here, Claudette, so let me answer this, okay? Type 1 diabetes does not come on like type 2 diabetes. It is not a gradual progression. It's a very, very sudden occurrence. So a person with type 1 diabetes can go from having a normal A1C to an A1C of 10 almost overnight, okay? So it's important to make that distinguishment that with type 1 diabetes is not a gradual progression to a higher A1C level. It is a very sudden thing. Now, in terms of A1C goals, the goal for the A1C for a type 1 and a type 2 is very similar, and it starts with keeping your A1C below 7. If you can keep your A1C below 7, you dramatically reduce the risks of complications associated with diabetes. Now, for type 1 diabetes, keeping it below 7 is really the target range, because all of the research, all of the studies show that for a person living with type 1 diabetes, the benefit of getting your A1C much lower than that does not outweigh the risks associated with hypoglycemic events that often occur when, when a type 1 has a low A1C. So what a hypoglycemic event means is low blood sugar. Now, that's different, okay? That is different from somebody living with type 2 diabetes. If you're living with type 2 diabetes, your goal should be to continue to get that A1C down back out of the diabetic range, so down below 6.5, and then keep it going and get it down into the 5s. And I want to congratulate and recognize we have several people joining us right now who have shared their journey from having diabetes to not having diabetes, or having pre-diabetes to not having pre-diabetes. And my man Salah from Algeria, who has been kicking diabetes butt now for, I would say about a year, he recently shared with us that his A1C actually got down into the 4s. So it is possible, okay? And don't let anybody tell you that it's not possible. It is possible, and especially when you incorporate something like GLUCOSEZONE, and then you start eating right, and you start basically taking this seriously and using the resources available to you, amazing things can happen in terms of reducing and reversing type 2 diabetes, and certainly controlling type 1 diabetes. All right, now, so the next thing, so let me do a couple shout outs because we got a whole bunch of people now joining us, and it's great to have you here. I want to do a shout out to the Diabadass who just joined us. Michelle is on the line on Instagram. Michelle, it's great to have you here. Frank has joined us, okay? And a whole bunch of people have joined us on Facebook. I want to do a big shout out to Maria, okay, joining us on Facebook, and several people also joining us on YouTube, including Donnie Ray. Donnie Ray, it is great to have you here. And Carrie, it is great to have you here as well. Now, let me just dial it back for a second, guys. Tonight's topic is the benefits of tracking your blood sugars. So I'm going to frame this in two contexts. The first thing is just related to your blood sugar levels themselves. So you definitely, if the only way that you're going to have success controlling your blood sugar levels is if you're tracking them. It's just as simple as that, okay? And don't fool yourself if basically into thinking like, oh, well, you know what, I exercise a lot and I'm eating well. Don't use that as an excuse to not test your blood sugar, because ultimately you're doing yourself a disservice. If you are exercising, if you're eating well, you want to be confirming that that is actually impacting your diabetes in a positive way, okay? And if it's not, that's incredibly important information, okay? And here's the reason why I say that. Your hyperglycemia means high blood sugar, could be the result of something not related to lack of exercise or poor eating habits. And that's a very, very important thing to be clear about, okay? All right, now, let me talk to my type 1 people for a second, okay? So, for people living with type 1 diabetes, we have identified 6 things that impact glucose levels, and we call these the 6 variables of the glucose zone, okay? And what those variables are the food you've eaten, the medication you've taken, the time of day, your heart rate, the actual activity that you're performing, and your actual glucose level. Those 6 things fit together like a puzzle, and they tell you what your diabetes actually looks like at any moment. And if you can understand how to track those 6 things and correlate them, you are going to start having success reducing and getting rid of the highs and lows associated with diabetes. And if you are in Connecticut this Sunday, I want you to come check me out at the Connecticut Expo Center. I am presenting how to control your type 1 diabetes during and after exercise at the JDRF Type 1 Summit. I want to see you here in Hartford, guys. This is, you know, we've been working really, really hard here at GLUCOSEZONE to lay the foundation and the platform for helping people with type 2 diabetes to use exercise as a solution to reduce and reverse their diabetes. But that doesn't mean, guys, that we forgot about type 1. It's actually the exact opposite. We have been getting ourselves ready to really, really address and help people with type 1 diabetes. And I'm kicking that off this Sunday in Hartford, okay, at the JDRF Type 1 Summit. And I want to see you guys out there if you are local here in Connecticut. Following that right up, Saturday, March 17th in Boston on St. Patrick's Day, I'm giving one of the feature presentations at the New England JDRF Type 1 Summit. Again, really breaking down how to control type 1 diabetes during and after exercise, and I'm going to be explaining how the 6 variables of the glucose zone, how each one impacts your glucose levels, and the specific information that you need to know in order to have success doing that. So I want to really encourage you guys, if you are in Connecticut or the Boston area on either of those dates, okay, come check me out. All right, now, when you start tracking those things and you start correlating those things with glucose levels, you start to reveal what is actually causing the unwanted hyperglycemia. All right? So I'll give you some examples. We have had people come into the glucose zone who have been diligently tracking their exercise, tracking their food, not keeping track of their glucose levels, okay? And it's a very, very frustrating thing, because if you're not tracking your glucose levels, you can't tell if the food that you're eating is actually having a positive impact. You can't tell if the activity that you're eating or the activity that you're doing is having a positive impact. And I'm going to give you a very, very specific example. Early on, when I first started GlucoseZone, I had a client who approached me, and he was very frustrated because he was in shape, he was very active, he more or less ate very well, okay, but he had an A1C of 7.6, and he couldn't figure it out, right? He went to the gym almost every day, okay? His eating habits were more or less healthy, okay? So why was that happening? Well, it turned out that the exercise he was performing at the gym was actually causing his glucose levels to go up, okay? And many people don't understand that certain types of exercise can actually cause your glucose levels to rise. And in this guy's case, he was performing upper body weightlifting exercises that were stimulating a glycolytic response, okay, in his body. And what a glycolytic response in his body means, a rise in glucose levels. And in his case, it was a sharp rise in glucose levels. And what was really funny was he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it the first time we did a GlucoseZone session, and we watched his glucose level go from like the low 100s. His number was like 110. He then did a push-up workout. We tested his blood sugar again, and it had gone up to like 190. And he couldn't believe it. And he said to me, he said, Charlie, I've been doing push-ups every morning for the last 5 years. And guys, you know, we've talked about the morning dawn effect. The combination of the morning dawn effect and him doing these upper body workouts was actually having a significant impact on his A1C. And in his case, all we did was transition him to incorporating the treadmill at the gym, and specifically starting his gym workouts out with 20 minutes on the treadmill. That had an enormous impact, brought his A1C down to a 6.2, okay? Amazing example of the importance of tracking your blood sugar levels, okay? And especially tracking your blood sugar levels in the gym, okay? All right, now, we've got a comment here, a question from Sue on Instagram. So Sue's asking, so she says, I have type 2 and my A1C is always below 6.4 with medicine. Should I consider myself pre-diabetic? Okay, so that is a great, great question, Sue, okay? And here's how we would answer that. First off, you're doing a great job of controlling your diabetes. But if you are achieving an A1C of below 6.4 with medicine, I would not say then that you're pre-diabetic, okay? Because the medicine is prophylactically helping you achieve that result. Now, that's not a bad thing. And don't make the mistake of judging yourself or judging your progress because you're achieving that result with medication. There's a reason why people living with diabetes are put on medication, okay? Because there are causes of hyperglycemia that can only be addressed through medication. But having said that, okay, having said that, if you are really serious, okay, you want to talk with your healthcare provider about reducing the medications that you're taking while still achieving an A1C of below 6.4. And if you can do that, now you are truly reducing the diabetic condition. All right? Okay, so I hope that that's good. I hope that's advice, Sue, that basically you can take and run with, okay? All right, now, we've got a question, guys, coming through. A lot of people are asking where they're having trouble finding our YouTube videos. So, guys, we are transitioning all of our older YouTube videos into the GlucoSezone app. And if you want to find the workouts that you love, just download the GlucoSezone app, okay? They're organized by body part, by type of workout, by trainer, okay? And they're designed now to be utilized in conjunction with your actual diabetes metrics. But you have to download the app to actually gain them. Now, we will always, okay, and thank you for pointing that out, we are launching very soon a desktop version of the GlucoSezone app. So for those of you that maybe your smartphone doesn't have the ability to download through the Play Store or the iPhone store, or for whatever reason you don't want to use your phone to track and use the GlucoSezone app, we are going to be launching upcoming, we're not ready yet, but upcoming a desktop version, okay? I want to encourage you guys, if you love doing GlucoSezone, just keep doing it, okay? Use the workouts that are on YouTube if you can't download the app. But if you can, guys, download the app. It's going to revolutionize how you take control of your diabetes, okay? And that's awesome, Nikita. Thank you for sharing that. So Nikita just shared that she's downloaded the app. It's really working really well for her. Nikita is located in India, which is awesome. Guys, we are definitely conscious of, we want to create a service that everybody around the world can take advantage of and foster a community of support and encouragement, whether you're in India, whether you're in Algeria, whether you're in Chicago, whether you're here in Connecticut, whether you are in Belize, whatever, okay? We are happy that you guys are here, and we are trying to create something, okay, that basically can be used globally and harnessing technology for that, right? All right. It is great to have Tara has just joined us on Facebook, okay? Tara, it is great to have you here. And the other thing, guys, let me just get back to tracking blood sugar, okay? The other thing that tracking blood sugar does is once you have context, this is actually the most important thing, and this is where we're going to end tonight's talk about, okay? Many people stop tracking their blood sugar levels because they feel that there's nothing they can do about them. And it can become a very, very negative emotion and a negative spiral when you test your blood sugar's out of control, and you don't have anything you can do about it. And we see that all the time. People stop testing their blood sugar because it causes anxiety. They don't know what to do about it, and they don't really have any rhyme or reason as to why their blood sugar is at a certain place. This is exactly, guys, where the GLUCOSEZONE program comes in. The whole point of the GLUCOSEZONE application itself is to track those variables that actually cause changes to glucose levels, and then be able to offer you the guidance, support, and solutions that you need in order to make the right adjustments. And I cannot encourage you enough, once you actually understand what are the variables that are impacting your glucose levels, now testing, it stops being a burden and it starts becoming a tool. And that is what testing is really meant to be. It's meant to be a tool for you, okay, to better manage your diabetes and to better reduce, reverse, and control your diabetes. But you have to have the information. You have to understand what the relevance of each one of those variables that I broke down, what the relevance of those variables are to your glucose levels, because just a random glucose level in and of itself is not really actionable information, okay? I also want to encourage you, okay, that if you are struggling with testing your blood sugar, if it's something that is annoying to you, or basically you just hate it, which, by the way, guess what? I've never met anybody ever who liked testing their blood sugar. So that's an okay emotion. If you hate testing your blood sugar, join the club, okay? But if you're seriously impacted by that and you aren't able to emotionally deal with it, look into getting a continuous glucose monitor, okay? It really, really is, guys, something that is makes tracking your blood sugar much easier and much less invasive in your life. All right. And yes, so thank you for putting that up there. Our digital coach, Laura, just really broke it down. Guys, ignorance is not bliss. You cannot have success managing your diabetes with the ostrich strategy. And remember what the ostrich strategy is. The ostrich strategy is, I'm going to stick my head in the sand. You cannot stick your head in the sand with diabetes. If you stick your head in the sand with diabetes, you're going to end up with complications that range from loss of vision to kidney failure to amputation to neuropathy to even death. Okay? Those are the physical results of the ostrich strategy and purposefully being ignorant about your blood sugar. And then there's the mental and emotional toll. The lack of caring leads to depression. Okay? Depression leads us to basically not being able to help other people, okay? And when we're not helping other people, we're focused on ourselves. We're self-obsessed. And that's a terrible, terrible cycle to be in. So I want you to snap out of that, okay? I want you to deal with testing your blood sugar. I know that it sucks. Let's just acknowledge that. Testing your blood sugar sucks, but let's actually use that tool to do something positive, which is reducing, reversing, and controlling your diabetes. All right? And on that note, guys, we're going to end it. I want us to do a shout out to Jeanette. Jeanette, of course, we're going to continue to do our live YouTube broadcasts, okay? And we're always going to be going live periodically on YouTube to encourage you to join the fight against diabetes, to share this GLUCOSEZONE experience. But of course, guys, we want you to join us every single day in the GLUCOSEZONE. I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to see your success. And I want to shout out everybody who joined us tonight. You guys did a great, great job. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the glucose zone.